Hi everyone, it's Miss Court here from Greenway. I hope you're all having a wonderful Easter holidays and we all miss you so much. Now, I've been trying to think of ways that we can stay in touch whilst you're not at school and to give you opportunities to still learn lots. And I was thinking maybe what I could do is put together some science experiments and challenges for you to complete at home over the next few weeks. Now, to let me know that you've done this, I'd love it if you could post photos and videos onto our school Twitter page and I'll show you how to do this later. But don't worry if you can't, still have a go. We'd love to hear all about it when you come back to school. Okay, so my first challenge for you is a paper aeroplane competition. Now, we're going to create 2 different types of paper aeroplanes and then we're going to go outside and we're going to fly them and test to see which one goes further. We're going to measure and compare the distance and then have a little think about why one might have flown further than the other. So, what you're going to need for this is an A4 sheet of paper like this. Now, don't worry if you haven't got a sheet of A4 paper or you can't find any, that's fine. I had this magazine come through the post today. I'm sure you will get magazines and Domino's leaflets and things like that through the post. You can use those because they still fold up and you can still fly your paper aeroplane using magazine paper. It doesn't matter that it's got words on it or anything like that. As long as it's a piece of paper, you can use it to fly your plane. Okay, so first you need to fold your piece of paper in half lengthways so it's long. Then open it back out so you've got your full sheet again. Next, fold one of the corners towards the middle line to make a triangle. After that, repeat on the other side. Then fold it back in half using that line you folded earlier. Then fold one wing down. Then flip it over and do the same again. And finally, you've got yourself a paper aeroplane. Okay, so I've come outside now into the garden to try and fly my first paper aeroplane. Paper aeroplane number 1. Let's see how far it's going to go. Okay. Measure how far my plane went. I use an app on my iPhone called Measure. You can download this from the App Store for free. So it's really easy to use. Press the plus button and then you can walk all the way from where your starting point was to where the plane landed. Now it's important to do it right at the tip of the plane so you get an exact measurement. You can then see where the plane flew and how long it was. So it was 2.23 metres. So that first plane was a bit of a disaster really, wasn't it? It didn't fly that far. Let's have a go at making plane 2 and see if we can make it fly any better. Okay, so firstly you need to fold your piece of paper in half lengthways like you did the first time. Then open it back out so you've got your full sheet of A4 paper. Next, fold a triangle inwards to meet at that middle line. After that, repeat on the other side so that the triangles meet both at that middle line. Can you see it makes a bigger triangle now? Next, fold the corner inwards so it meets at that middle line again. So you've got now a longer triangle. Can you see that? And then do the same with the other side. Starting to look a bit more like a plane now. Now fold the paper plane in half. Use that middle line that you made earlier to help you. Then fold one of the wings downwards. You can fold it to make it big or small, it really doesn't matter. Finally, do the same on the other side. Make sure that the plane wing is the same size by folding it right down to meet that other one. And there you have it. Plane number 2 is complete. Okay, now I'm going to try the second of our two planes to see if it goes further or not than the first one. Let's go. So now I'm going to use the measured app on my iPhone to do it again and measure how far my second plane went. It's gone way past my first plane. Let's press right to the point. Let's see how far it flew. 5.2 metres. That's amazing. So we've used the iMeasure app on the iPhone to measure exactly how far both our planes went. But there is other ways, if you don't have an iPhone, that you can measure how far your planes went. So the first is a standard unit, and that is centimetres. So lots of you will probably have measuring tapes in the house. You can ask one of the adults in your house if they can help you to find one. It's important that when you're measuring that you start from exactly at the end, because can you see here, if you start from 1, you've missed that whole centimetre. So it's important to start all the way from 1. You might have to use more than one measuring tape. So the way you can do that is when you get to the end of the measuring tape, you can just mark where that is and then from there start again. So that's the first thing you can do. Or the other thing you can do is use non-standard measurements. So you could measure how many spoons long your plane flew. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that now. So, as you can see, I've put the very tip of the bottom of the spoon right where I stood when I flew the plane. Now, this is really important because that's how we're going to know exactly how many spoons it was. Now, I'm going to pick up the spoon and add it from the top of the very first spoon. And keep doing that, making sure that they're touching. If you've only got one spoon, that doesn't matter. Just keep lifting it up. As you can see, we're at 4 spoons already. Now, when I add this 5th spoon, it's going to go past where our plane landed. So we can't count that whole spoon. So we'll just count half of it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 spoons long. Do this for both the first plane and the second plane and see what the difference is in the number of spoons that it takes to fill the distance. So, we know that plane 1 didn't fly anywhere near as far as plane 2, but why? What I want you to do is have a think about what makes a really good paper aeroplane and what makes a plane fly really far. Go. Okay, so the first thing I want you to think about is how streamlined the plane is. Can you have a think? Do you know of anything in our everyday lives that are streamlined? Have a think about all the different objects and things that you know of that are streamlined. So here are some streamlined objects. An arrow. A swimmer creates really streamlined shapes when it's trying to cut through the water. A racing car needs to be really streamlined and narrow at the front so it can go really fast. And a rocket needs to cut through the air just like a plane does. Okay, so now we know what things are streamlined, can we have a little bit of a think? Which of our 2 planes is more streamlined? Plane 1 or plane 2? Have a look at them. Which one to you looks more streamlined? So, which of our 2 planes is more streamlined? Which one is narrower, pointier, thinner and will cut through the air further? It's plane 2, isn't it? Plane 2 has got a much narrower point. It's a lot thinner. It's going to cut through the air a lot better than plane 1, which means it will fly further. My final challenge for you is, we know that plane 1 went 2.23 metres. And we know that plane 2 went 5.2 metres. What I want you to do, using any method that you know, is to work out the difference in distance between the 2 planes and how far they flew. Go. So, we know that plane 1 flew 2.23 metres and that plane 2 flew 5.2 metres. I'm just going to put that 0 there so that both our numbers are to 2 decimal places. It just makes it easier to line up. So we're going to line them up now with our big number on the top, 5.2, take away 2.23. So the first number I want to look at is 0, take away 3. Now, if I've got 0 sweets, I can't take away 3 sweets from that because there aren't any sweets to take it away from. So I need to borrow 10 from this next column. So this is crossed out and becomes 10 again. And that 10 has moved over here. So now it's 10 take away 3. 10 take away 3. We know that is 7. So I can write it in. So now we move on to our next column, which is 1 take away 2. Now again, if I've got 1 sweet, I can't eat 2 of them because I've only got 1 in the first place. So I need to borrow again. So I'm going to borrow from my next column. That 5 now becomes 4. And the 10 comes over. So now I've got 11. 11 take away 2 is 9. Now the important thing to remember here is to make sure that decimal point is in the right place. It follows down. Can you see? All the decimal points are in line. So now my final question that I've got to do is 4 take away 2. 4 take away 2 is simple, that's 2. So the difference between the two distances is 2.97 metres. Now that is really tricky decimal point subtraction, but Upper Key Stage 2, Years 5 and 6, I think you could have a really good go at that. So that's the end of Challenge 1. Thank you so much for having a go. I can't wait to see all your videos and photos of what you've been getting up to on Twitter. Don't forget, if you're in Greenway, to tag @Greenway Primary and to tag @Trowbridge PS if you're from Trowbridge, so we can see what you've been getting up to. We miss you all so much and can't wait to see you really soon back in school. Stay safe and have a wonderful, relaxing time. Bye! I just thought I'd show you how to tweet what you've done. Firstly, you've got to click on that little feather in the bottom right-hand corner. Then you can type your message. Now for the important bit. You need to put an @ and then without any spaces, Greenway Primary, and click on the Greenway Primary one when it comes up. Or if you're from Trowbridge, you can put @ and then Trowbridge PS, and you'll see it come up there to click on. You can also tag me if you like, @MissCourtUSW. You can then add some photos of what you've been doing or videos. And then finally, you can press tweet. I can't wait to see what you come up with.